Is the people. He's also the director of the Russian Institute at King's College in London. He joins me now to further discuss all of this. Good to see you, sir. This has all been inspired and led by Mr. Navalny, even though he's behind bars. What is his end game here?
Well, I mean, I think the reality is he doesn't have an end game. This is unpredictable, right, and uncertain, and really that is the point, right? I think that Putin's goal throughout his time in power, right now, really since 1999, has been to promote himself as inevitable, right, and to get people to believe that his rule will last for as long as he wants it to, and it's not really much up to others. And so Navalny's aim here really is to demonstrate that that's not the case. It's to try to create at least the idea in people's heads that this could go in a different direction, to demonstrate to them, let them demonstrate to themselves that they have some power, and to let the Kremlin demonstrate exactly how it plans to rule the country, through attempting to poison him, through putting opposition members in jail, through fairly draconian restrictions on protest.
So then, is this the most serious challenge to President Putin that you can remember? Our correspondent Matthew Chance there on the ground in Moscow says he can't really remember where he's seen this kind of pushback. Is Mr. Navalny here succeeding where others have not?
Well, so we have seen protests before, including on the maybe even a little bit larger, right, going back to 2012. But I don't think that we've seen this degree of emotion before, right? I think that we are seeing people who really are beginning to believe that it's now or never, right? That if they do not create some kind of political change in Russia, that things can become so tightly controlled that there may not be another opportunity. And it's that level of emotion and that level of desperation, if you will, that I think does make these protests unprecedented.
So is this because this is an inflection point, perhaps, in Mr. Putin's rule? Is it a generational thing? But we're seeing that a lot of these protesters and the supporters are quite deep and wide, also geographically and cutting across various demographics. What do you make of who's actually on the streets right now? And these are live images from northeast Russia. This isn't Moscow. This is across the country.
It is across the country. That's one of the things that Navalny's been able to do, right? So if we think back to the first big anti-Putin protests of 2011, 2012, they really were concentrated in Moscow and St. Petersburg. Yeah. Over the last few years, Navalny's been able to gather more people, to get more people upset about the way the country is being governed, and maybe get more people to believe that it could be governed differently. And we're seeing that across the country. Usually these things happen around the times of elections. We don't have elections at the moment. We'll have parliamentary elections later this year. But I think really this has been caused by the Kremlin, right? This has been caused by the fact that the Kremlin evidently tried to kill Navalny and then was unable to prevent him from coming home, and then arrested him as soon as he did, right? So this has been ample opportunities for the Kremlin to get people upset.
What does the incoming Biden administration do about this? How do they play into this scenario? How much pressure can they, and more importantly, would they use?
Well, I think that they understand their mission first and foremost, and I think correctly, as to do no harm. Right? The reality is that the future of Russian politics is going to be determined by the Russian people. That's the way that it should be, right? And the U.S. government or any other government should not be in the game of picking winners, right, in Russian politics. I do think that they have, much more than the Trump administration, already spoken out to show solidarity with people on the streets, with people who want to see a democratic future with Russia, and to express their concern about the ways in which opposition is being treated. There are calls, obviously, on the administration to impose some sanctions. I think that may be something politically they feel that they need to do, but I wouldn't have too many illusions about the ability of those sanctions to actually cause change. Change is going to happen in the relationship between Russian citizens and the Kremlin, not in people's bank accounts and foreign assets.
Samuel Greene, great to speak to you live from London. Thanks so much for bringing us your expertise. Thank you. So coming up on CNN, historic tensions between the US and the Middle East have only increased over the last